1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're done. I've got some of this Hivealive Easy Feed syrup to try. I thought we'd just have a look at the box first and to see what it's like when it arrived. So this is the box it comes in. Okay, there's 18 pounds in this, 8.1 kilos, and it's 9 2-pound bags. I've already given 2 to my colonies over there just to try it. And basically, it's very simple to apply. I really like this. You get an instruction use, how to use it inside. Basically, you put it on the colony, the dome way up. So the kind of that way up, that's what they recommend, okay? So you've got a flat bit at the bottom, and then you put the dome. It's actually a bit like what you'd imagine a silicone implant looks like. There you go. I imagine there's going to be a lot of jugs coming from that. So you put it on that way up, and you make 5 to 8 holes in the top. So I did that 2 days ago with the 2 colonies I've got there that have both got breeder queens in, and I'm that confident in this product that I've given it to my new 2 breeder queens because they needed a feed, and I wanted to give them some of this Hivealive in the syrup. I know it's not going to have everything in that some people like, but the thing for me, it's got thymol and lemongrass and a good cross section of some protein, some fiber, some oils and fats, and the secret ingredient from the seaweed that really seems to give bees the edge. I really like this because for me it's practical. It doesn't mean I'm going to use it all the time. It just means if I've got nukes that need a feed, I can take one of these out, pop it on the colony, make some holes in, and then walk away, and it's done. And it's really quick to feed. Let's go over and have a look at what the bees have done. I put this on yesterday. So I think yesterday afternoon. So I've been extracting honey. Put on these 2 colonies here and here, and I'll just show you what they've done with it in 24 hours. That one is virtually gone. They're really guzzled that down. Absolutely love it. You need to have an eek or something like that. And the other one isn't gone quite so much, but they're working on it pretty well. The great thing is when you put 3 or 4 holes in, it doesn't pour out, so the bees can't drown in it. But what it does do is it comes out very slowly so the bees can drink it in their own time. I really like the product. I think it's a good product to have. I think it's a great way of giving colonies liquid very quickly if you find a colony that is desperate and you want to get some feed on it quick. You haven't got to go back home, mix up some syrup, and then come and put it back on afterwards, which is all obviously a lot more work. This is what I do with my feeder buckets. I've got feeder buckets here. I'm just going to make a whole new load up now. I've got this Hivealive colony strength feed, and this 2 litres will make up to 800 litres. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up a 1-to-1 and put this in, because I don't want to be feeding 2-to-1 in the next month. I want to feed 1-to-1 as I release my queens, because as you know, I cage my queens, and when I release them, I don't want to block up the colony. I need them to really lay for a while before they are shut down for the winter. And in that time, they're going to build up that new brood, because it's like they're starting afresh. So obviously I'll be releasing those queens, treating with oxalic acid, and then straight away the queens lay the whole place up front. And with that feed, with the Hivealive in it, I really think it will be the bonus I need. It will just give them that vitality. But I'll keep you updated on that. But anyway, here's an interview with Dar Scott from Hivealive, who is explaining the product that they've just been released. I've just shown you. And he was over here about 5 weeks ago on holiday, and I caught up with him and his lovely family, and he came up here the next morning and we did a bit of an interview, and I gave him the tour of the honey house. which was great fun, and we got chatting as beekeepers do, and we basically ran out of time. But long story short, I think the new product from Hivealive is a great product. I think it will give a lot of people another tool in the box to be able to have something to put on the top of colonies that isn't enormous, but it's a really good strength feed, and it gives them that extra ingredients and everything the bees could need. With their past history, we know that this is a good alternative and a good feed, and I think it will do really well on most colonies. But I'll keep you updated on how I do, and I will let you know what they look like. It's very difficult for me to actually ascertain the true value of this product. Like all feeds, it's all variable on the stock you have, on how your bees are doing, on what's going on outside the colony. So we can just get a general idea, but I'll be honest with you and tell you what I find. At the moment, I'm really impressed with it. So now here's the video. Catch you again soon. Bye for now.
So beekeeping takes you to many places, you meet many people. This is a guy who I met loads of times in the last couple of years. This is Dar Scott from Hivealive, from all the way from Galway in
West of Ireland.
West of Ireland, yeah. Dara contacted me the other week and asked if he could pop past. I said, yeah, sure, because I'd love to actually meet him. It's really awkward, and when you only meet people at do's and events and you never actually get to really have a chance to catch up. So last night I was lucky enough to go out for a quick bite to wait with Dara in Dingle, which is like a historic town near me. So we had a really nice quick do there. Today I've been boring Dara to death with my honey house and what I do here, and it's really great because I've learned a lot about how Dara raises his bees and his queens and what he does with his individual stuff. And we talked about, obviously, Hivealive, which is one of the leading bee feeds now in Europe and expanding.
In the world, I'd like to say, yeah.
I would agree. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's we're kept pretty busy. I managed to get a holiday into France, but yeah, in general, we're kept pretty busy the whole time.
Good.
This is the newest thing. This is our Hive tool. It's an awesome Hive tool. I won't go into details about it. You can look online and find out why it's an awesome Hive tool. But we've been flat out. Europe, the US in particular, are really, really growing. The liquid obviously is always growing, but the fondant did really well over the last couple of years, really expanding fast. People are realizing how it's saving colonies, literally saving colonies.
I don't know what it is about it, but I'll just interrupt there. I used it last winter for the first time, and I was getting bees. I had some left out on the side that wasn't in a hive, and I had bees coming to rob that out, that I put it on the hives. They just know there's something about it in that ingredient that just drives them nuts on it. And I don't know what it is, but like you said, I think it's that ingredient you've got that you keep secret. You know, you have that nuclear case that the government has. Well, he's got one for his.
Don't make me talk. Don't make me talk. I won't confess. Look, it's a really good product, and beekeepers have used it know it's a good product, and that's great. So it's word of mouth. And
you've also changed your kind of different sizes of fondant, haven't you now?
Yeah, we have. It depends on where you are, but we have bigger packs now as well for Europe and for the US, so double the size. So it makes it easier for people who've got bigger colonies who need to be feeding for longer.
Yeah, and less visits to the apiary and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'd love to do one smaller for nooks, but in the day it's nearly as easy just to cut it in half and cut the pack in half and put it in a nook. So it really doesn't justify creating a new line.
Yeah.
What else? We got stuff in the US coming in this September. We have. Bags of syrup with Hivealive, and that's pretty new. It's pretty cool.
Right.
It'll be new to the US market in particular. So there'll be bags. What are there? 1 kilo bags, 2.2 pound bags. No, the 2 pound bags. Sorry, the 2 pound bags. They're 2 pound bags with Hivealive already in them. You just have to basically put the bag on top of your colony. Put a couple of holes in it. Up they go. You don't have to have a feeder. You don't have to clean anything. You don't have to worry about getting on mold or bad or any of that sort of stuff. And they're really handy for like emergency feeds. For you can put a couple of bags on at the same time if you need to. And also like in the US you get a lot. You do here as well. Dirts in the middle of summer.
Yeah, well, it's exactly like we had this year. You
feed quick, bang, there it is.
And you know what? Well, I've used a different feed this year because I had a larger quantity of feed and I couldn't get hold of the quantity, but I've now got hold of some of your the liquid additive that you put into the large quantity feed, and I'm really looking forward to use that this year, and I'm going to be doing a bit of a trial on that. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I know other people have used it, and they say it's really good. I mean, all these claims, all these companies that say all these bee feed's great, but we know that Hivealive does work really well. So if your bees get through the winter, you've got to ask that question: what is it that I got my bees through the winter on? And if you find a formula that works, you stick to it. It's like everything we discussed today, and we were talking about how we raise queens and stuff like that, and Dar was saying that he's found a way he does that works him, but it wouldn't work for other people. It's all that kind of process and thought that if it works for you and you use something particular that does the job for you, stick to it. And if you find a good product, and I know that Hivealive is good. I know several beekeepers in the UK that use it, and they say it's absolutely brilliant. Not everyone, it's all freedom of choice, isn't it? But there's no doubt that everyone I know who's used it has very, very low winter losses.
And it's not just the winter losses. I mean, the whole idea of the Hivealive is that by feeding it over the winter time, you're keeping pathogen levels low, the disease levels low in the colony. So they do overwinter better. But it also means, as you know yourself, like a stronger colony coming out in the spring is going to be way more productive that summer than a colony that's just getting through the summer or getting through the winter.
Yeah.
So that's where it pays itself in spades, because the fact that the small investment back in the autumn pays big time at the end of the summer for you the next year. And then there's signs there to back it up.
Absolutely,
as well.
absolutely. I always used to say that if I could get my colonies big enough in the autumn, the swarming in the spring is actually less, because you've got better colonies quicker to deal with the ever earlier arriving nectar flow. And the problem I'm seeing at the moment is, and I saw it last year and the year before, is we didn't really have a winter. And okay, they consume a lot, but if they're almost growing over the winter or very early spring, and you can feed them well and give them that stuff they need, when the real nectar flow comes along, they're away. Okay, then you've got another issue of how do you deal with massive colonies in February and March, but
split them away, sell your nooks,
it's better to have that than have really underfed, and there's underfed, undernourished colonies. But like, I know other beekeepers that are on YouTube and stuff, like, for instance, Ian Stepler takes a lot of time in nutrition, and nutrition is really good, and I'm beginning to understand that now. And whatever I can do to help my nutrition. So for me, I'll just give an example. In the autumn, I cage my queens, as you probably know. We actually didn't talk about that today, but I cage my queens for 21 days. And then I release them. But when I release them, I give them a pollen sub. Not because that pollen sub is really anything special. I can tell you I use the Ultra Bee only because I've got some this year and I had some last year. Where I get it from next year, I don't know, because I can't get it in Europe. It's really difficult. There's only one place in Spain I've got to buy it from. La Tienda de Apicultura, they send it to me, and it's really expensive now. But if I give them that pollen sub, because there's nothing else around, and Randy Oliver's done like extensive trials and has proven that basically if you've got natural pollen, it's 10 times better than anything you can give them. But basically, whatever you give them, if it's a pollen sub, they will all work to some degree if you have a dearth.
Yeah, I remember when we launched Hivealive first, I was at an AP Mondia, and this person came up to me and started screaming at me, really upset, like, why would you be giving anything to bees? And what they have their own things that they need, and nature's had them for thousands of years. But like, the fact of the matter is that nature has changed around here. Everywhere you go, the environment is not what it used to be.
Totally.
The variety and the density of flowers are not what they used to be. You've got new diseases that were never affecting bees before.
Absolutely.
It's a much more difficult environment than it was 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years ago. So it's really changed.
No, I completely agree, and I think we have to feed. If we can feed it a little bit, it'll help the bees through those difficult times. But for me as well, I have that dearth, which works for me as well, because I cage my queens, for example, and then when they're caged, they don't hassle the queen to lay because there's a dearth on anyway. But all you're doing is kind of enhancing that period of no brood. Then I treat the oxalic acid. And it's literally only 1 or 2 treatments, and the knockdown is brilliant. And you're like, did I really have that many mites in my hives? But it's clean, because as long as there's no drone brood, or you wait 24 to 26 days rather than the 21, that's the results I'm getting. But what I'm talking about and getting to there long term is if you've got a good feed afterwards, it makes such an amazing difference, because you're literally, that queen machine gun lays everything, and you've got wonderful brood that's been raised with like your best feed, with everything they need. So you've got those strong bees that are full of protein, that those nurse bees will then in turn raise more for the autumn, winter. And it's like that, you start something and it just carries on through really well. And then you go into winter with those feed. I think personally that most of the feed I need and use is actually at the back end of the year, because that's the time when there's the big dearth. We haven't really had a good ivy flow. Well, I tell a lie, we had a good ivy flow last winter, but it was more also other farmers' crops that flowered at the same time, so that really helped. It was facile, they used as a green manure, and it came out. And I actually put frames onto hives to get them built because it was just free honey. I mean, I put double broods on, and I've got some in the shed now that I'm putting into my nukes this year. But it's that, you know, I could have given them to some of my main colonies that suffered in the dearth this spring. That's the thing. It's all about just, I think, reassessing. What we have to reassess so often now in this changing environment, the way we're feeding stuff, and to find a really good feed that is just something about it that gives that key. I'm not sure what it is. You're not going to tell me what it is. I know it's to do with the algae you harvest and put in it, and it's, you know, which is brilliant. But it's also a sustainable product.
Yeah. It's all, the seaweed's all Irish as well. Like,
Yeah.
So it's actually hand harvested, the seaweed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to, I think definitely healthy colonies. You know, healthy colonies survive stuff so much better as well. You know, keeping your colonies healthy is just paramount, and not stressed. And if you can do that, you've got good beekeeping going on. If one of those things isn't working right, you're going to be stressed. By the way, I should have said to you as well, so we actually do a pollen patty, but it's in the US only, US and Canada, because we can't ship pollen across into Europe. It's not allowed. But we actually are working on a pollen patty for Europe, which we'll have in the next, hopefully by spring next year.
Oh, that'd be amazing, because I really struggle. If I could buy like they do in Canada or America, like in wholesale, if I could say, right, give me 200 paddies as a one-off and everyone gets a paddy for the autumn, excuse me, I'm not having to mix it, and I know it's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
You might think it's an expense, and it's a big expense, but you know what? It's much better to have that expense and then have bees surviving the winter and coming out the spring really good, because they've raised those nice young, stuff.
Yeah, because they're able to raise strong bees because they last 6 months or whatever, longer winter.
And then strong bees also resist disease better. They resist varroa a little bit better. When you've got a strong colony, before varroa-resistant queens, this is just my point of view, before varroa-resistant queens started coming out, and I don't know if there's any really good ones actually out there yet, but it's still in its early days, I always used to say you're better off getting a really prolific queen, and prolific queens from a breeder queen that you've had for a couple of years, because it's actually almost better to have such prolificness in the colony, because then they outgrow the varroa, they raise better bees, they raise... And I used to have some from Marken that were just amazing, and this breeder queen I had, all the daughters hardly had any varroa mites ever, and I used to do one wash, but I haven't been able to get any more of that line. So, but sometimes it just goes perfect like that, and you probably remember queens yourself you had that were exceptional.
Yeah, but the only thing with really strong queens is they build up, because they make so much brood, there's so much time for varroa, so you really got to be ready to treat at the right time. That's the right time, because you can get really stung with a really strong colony, because it gets overwhelmed by varroa once they start slowing down for the autumn.
And that's exactly it. I mean, talking about differences in regions. You do your bees one way, I do mine another. For me, I have the brood break here, which is the perfect time. So I'm starting my caging next week when I do my splits and starting some...
Is that early?
Yeah, well, because if you start next week, it takes me a month to get through the whole lot. And then I've got to come back and pull honey at the same time, and then hopefully extract it so I don't get any wax moth building up in the supers in the autumn. In amongst the honey, because that's a real pig as well. Because there's always wax. People don't realise there's always wax moth in your colonies, but they're just suppressed, and there might be tiny little larvae that they never grow or they just die eventually. But they're constantly there. Well, I don't know why or how, but they seem to get in. But if you harvest your honey straight away, you never see it. But if you leave a stack of supers in the warm, you come back like a month later and it's like alive with wax moth.
I kept a bunch of supers in a corner in my office years ago by mistake over winter. That was the messiest thing I ever saw.
Really?
Oh, they were covered in wax moth.
And was it in polystyrene or
they're in polyhives, but it was the fact that they were there. They were in the box.
Because I was going to say,
there's always a larvae there. I think I had newspaper between the sheets and everything. Yeah. But they just, because it was warm, it was just such a perfect environment, they were able to go through everything.
I know. And if you can keep them cool, obviously it does suppress them a lot.
Yeah.
But I find I learned last year, because I had a load of supers that I thought, they're all right, they're all fine, they're in the veranda now. There was 150 there stacked up, and probably 40% had quite a lot of wax moth in it. And it just makes it just makes harvesting awkward. It's like another thing to do, and I just think I wish I just spent the hours, but it's like another thing. You're exhausted because I've got, when you've got to raise queens and get the timing right, when you've got to get nukes done, it's just a lot of work. But that's all to come this year. But with the right, my point is with the right feed, it's going to help me a lot, because I know that so as I said, I go through that period where I'm about a month caging queens, then I'm probably 2 weeks vaping everything, and sometimes there's queens that haven't been released for 6 weeks, but you know what, they all seem to survive. It's just amazing, because there's no nectar around. But if you cage a queen, well, this is my what I find, if you cage a queen when there's a flow on, they start taking it out on the queen because they know something's not right, or they're trying to supersede. And the great thing about these cages I use is they can get access to the queen in and out. It's not like she's completely contained.
Are they the big ones? Or
yeah, I should have one up here, but I've got one down in the shed, loads in the shed. But they sit mid-frame, and then they can come in and out, and they feel the queen's there, but they don't expect her to be doing anything because
it's dirt.
Because it's a dirt. But all you're doing is, she might be laying a little bit normally, but you want to stop her doing that, and then hopefully you kind of do everything right, and then you release her, bang, they burst out, and you get this massive, and it usually just times it when the flow starts. But if you can give them a pollen sub and some good feed, so it's great. But I like the fact you do something completely unique. You raise all your bees in supers. You don't use any. You've got a standard thing.
I don't use brood boxes. Yeah, well, I mean, it partially works because the fact that it's the west of Ireland they just don't. They're not as productive as they're going to be anywhere else. So I can get away using supers. If I was here, I'd probably just use like mediums, or well, your supers are bigger than my supers back in Ireland anyway, so I'd probably just keep using. It's not as heavy. I don't have to use any foundation. I just use strips. Wooden strips. So it's super easy. Wooden strips. Drop them in between drawn out frames. Way quicker, way cheaper.
Yeah, it's really good, really interesting,
and really easy. Then if in Ireland as well, because it's damp, you get like over winter, you get messy frames at the back, you get mold or slugs and stuff like that.
So tell me, do you get slugs back?
Oh yeah, we got lots of slugs.
Really big ones.
I should be growing slugs, not bees. But but so it's easy. I just cut them back to the wood straight away and drop them back in again, and it gives them something to work in the springtime as well. So they're kept busy, less swarmy. Yeah, I love doing it that way. I have my kids putting in the strips now.
That's great, because I went out with your stunt children last night, because you assured me they weren't the real kids because they were too well behaved. They're the stunt ones that you get in every now and again when you want to go out for a meal with somebody. So no, your family's lovely, and your kids are really really grown up now.
They're getting into it now.
They are. It's good. So that's really, I'd like to come and see that, because it's so interesting to meet other people and see how they do their beekeeping in a different way. But we're all the same. We're all adapting specifically to our needs because we're all so busy, and we're all trying to do stuff, but we find a way that works and just gives you that edge, and other people go, what on earth do you do that for? And you go, well, I do it because it suits me and it fits in what I do. And they go, actually, that's a really good idea. Yeah. To each their own, very much in beekeeping. Yeah. If
it works, it works for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, by the way, I just want to talk about the Hive tool. I know I've got one here which is a bit like showy, but I will actually say that I used this for 2 days this week. And I've been lifting off heavy boxes, and I mentioned in a video before that I like the fact that there's more metal on it, and the fact there's like a nice bevel leading into the thickness of the metal, so you can actually get your Hive tool in on the side, and then you can lever it. But when you lever it, you've got the strength of the metal to still lever it with, and they are really good. And I was using it to dig out frames yesterday to try and get out honey supers, and I have to say I'm very impressed with that. And a little thing for me is I've had my Hive tool in a bucket of bleach. The colour hasn't discoloured at all yet, and you told me it will do, but
eventually.
Eventually. I just think they're a really good little Hive tool, and it does what it says on the tin.
I especially like this. I like this part. This is where, so that when you're levering it off the frame, there's something you do and it slips down.
Yeah.
That there's a little serration. You can see it on the camera. Little serration there. It just hooks in and makes it so much easier.
Because I've got some from Slovenia I like to use. I was using before a lot, and they've got the serration on the inside.
I never got that.
But for me, what it is when you're lifting up a frame to lift it out,
it doesn't slip off.
Exactly. Yeah. It kind of holds onto it a little bit better. Yeah. So I think that they both work as well. Yeah. Yes, you almost could do with a serrate on the inside as well.
Maybe version 2 might have a serration.
Maybe, but no, it's just a great innovative thing, and it's just nice to try these different things. I mean, everywhere I've gone, I seem to pick up a Hive tool. It's really cool. So I picked up one from Mike Palmer, and it's like a pressed one. It's a long metal one, and he uses it for when you're lifting out queens out of a... It's the same thing though. You've got a hook, and if you all stick the hook in the right time, you take out 3 frames out your mating box, and you can find the queen because she hasn't got time to run anywhere. So one of you is going to have the frame with the queen on. Whereas if you lift out one frame from one side, she often then runs to the next one, and then runs to the next one. It's actually, but his hooks are like much longer, but it's exactly the same on the end.
So he's pulling 3 frames out at the same time.
Yeah. And because there'll be 3 people when you're catching queens, that's how he does it. So you all got a frame. You're like looking this, going, "Where's she? Oh, here she is. I got her." You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. But yeah, that was Vermont. That was 10 years ago. But but it's just nice to try different things, But as I say as well, the other good thing is that hole is actually there. It's not in the middle. And that's where you create the weak point. I had one where twice I broke two, because the hole is exactly in the middle there, where you just do not need it. So just to finish up, I know you've talked about the new products that's coming out, but are you expanding more and more? Do you think you can see the business growing more?
Jeez, I hope so.
Yeah.
No, I just want to keep on doing like more and more. It was originally just feed, but now we've kind of gone different things. But as long as they're quality beekeeping products, that's the key.
Yeah.
Like, we really want to always have the best feed on the market.
Yeah.
But then I realized we can do other little things like this that just be the best in the space that we can be.
Yeah.
We're never going to be the cheapest. We're not that we're expensive, but we're always want to be the best and the quality. So what you're getting is you're getting quality.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion as well that from what I've seen of beekeeping products, you might find some much cheaper stuff. The same for any food products, but what you want is quality, and you want something that actually delivers the right ingredients to the bees, and and I think Hivealive is that. Yeah. And it might be a little bit more expensive, but when you look at the results the following spring, what do you want? Iffy bees in the spring, or do you want strong bees?
Yeah, bang for buck, it works out cheap. But
it does.
The outlay costs a bit more.
But it's a slightly more difficult pill to swallow in the autumn when we've all had a crap season.
Especially, in beekeeping world where people don't have money. I
mean, this year in the UK it's been catastrophic.
Ireland's been very, very cold so far.
Yeah, and I know my friend Ollie, the other side of you, he's had a really difficult year. Other beekeepers in the UK really struggled as well. And there's a glut on, so they've had huge sugar prices with no possibility of selling their honey for good. Well, not no possibility, but not as potential good markets for their honey afterwards. Yeah. So they're all paying huge, expensive bills to keep their bees alive when there's no nectar. There's a little bit coming in now, but even the next 2 weeks is diabolical for them. It's really not a good year.
There's a huge heat wave on the US as well right now.
Is there?
Yeah, coming in from the west as far as I heard as well. So more trouble ahead over there as well.
Yeah. Like you said, everywhere is having to change and be. But anyway, Dara, excellent to see you. Thanks for coming up. I hope I didn't bore you to death in my honey house.
No, the slice. It's a very, very, very impressive setup. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
And he's got the most amazing honey house that everyone wants to have. Every beekeeper wants to have this honey house.
Well, he was playing my new lift today, so we didn't get any video of it, but it was just good to show him around, and it gives me like a bit of perspective on how I'm doing, because other people come and go, wow, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've had that for ages, and like, oh yeah, it's not that cool, but oh yeah, it is actually pretty cool. I'm lucky,
Very impressive.
But it'll all come when you come next time. Hopefully, you see it up and running. So, thanks for coming in, and it's been great to see you. It's been brilliant to catch up. I might even see you in America.
Or Ireland.
Or Ireland. Yeah, I mean, I'm coming to Ireland for Ulster Beekeepers Association. They're doing 2-day, conferencing, and I'm speaking there in February. I think it's February. So I've never been so far north in Ireland. I'm going to pop to see Ollie Nolan as well, see how he's getting on, and then also I might be able to go west and go right out to the west of Ireland and
see what real beekeeping's like.
Yeah, in the real weather. So because apparently it rains more than it does in Wales, which I don't think is possible.
Oh no, it does. Guinness Book of Records, I think, for most amount of days rain per year or something.
We'll see. But I know you've still got Guinness there, so
yes,
that's the most important.
We'll take care of you.
Okay, good. Thanks, mate.
Cool.
Nice to see you. Lovely to catch up, and we'll keep in touch.
A pleasure.
Take care.
A pleasure.